Hey everyone, it's Face here. Well, it's been a little while since I've taken the time to get in front of the camera, but before I go anywhere, I do want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I recently hit the 100 mark, so you know, it's a bit of a milestone, so thank you very much to everyone out there who's been watching. Here's to 100 more and beyond. So there we go. I have been doing a little bit of work lately. I haven't completely stepped away from modeling like I have done a few times in the past. I haven't had a lot of time for it. Work has been really busy this summer. I work in the tourism industry, and it's been very, very busy this summer. 50 and 60-hour weeks have been pretty standard. But I have gotten a little bit done, mostly a little experimentation, some playing around. I've kind of stepped away from sci-fi a little bit. I've done a couple of car models recently. My God. What's next? The first one I did was a 2010 Dodge Challenger, which didn't really turn out, so I've just kind of set it aside and said, screw it, I'm not going to finish it. The next one I did, though, actually turned out really well, and I don't have it here. I gave it to my dad as a gift. It was the Ford Mustang GT as it appeared in the movie Bullitt. It actually turned out really, really well, and I'm very, very happy with how it came out. But immediately after that, I did Revell's 24th scale Enzo Ferrari, which, some growing pains. I haven't done any car kits in a really long time, so my experience with them, it's kind of a bit of a, you know, the skills are transferable, but you know, I wanted to ease into doing other stuff with just some cheap kits and see how the kind of skills that I've used on other models have can translate into that. But it turned out okay. You know, it's not fantastic. The body, there's some problems where the paint kind of pooled up. There's a bit of a fingerprint imprint in there. And actually the body, I built this little jig to attach to the body. You can see there's little bits of tape that I can tape to the underside so I can attach to the body so that I can move it around and get it from all angles while I'm painting it. Unfortunately, the tape came loose while I was painting it, and it fell and naturally landed face down, and there's a little bit of a blemish in the roof. Got some dust in it, and I just figured, screw it. You know, it's a cheap kit. I've been working on it for a few days. I'm not going to bother to fix it. But it's not a bad kit. Like, it's got workable steering. I don't know if you can make that out there, but you can see the this wheel is actually moving as I turn the one. The hood/trunk opens with a detailed engine. You know, it's a fairly standard features. I painted it using shading techniques, which I probably shouldn't have. They ended up kind of overwhelming the paint. And it looks okay, but it doesn't look fantastic. But you know, it's one of my first car kits in a long time, so you know, I'm not expecting miracles. Basically, the reason why I've done a few cheaper car kits is because a few months ago I picked up a kit of one of my favorite cars, the Audi R8. This is the Revell Germany kit. I actually bought this from HobbyLink Japan and imported it. I'm very anxious to get started on this. The R8 is one of my favorite cars. But then, a couple of weeks ago, I was in the hobby shop downtown, one of my favorite places to spend money. If you're ever in Victoria, it's BC Shaver and Hobbies on Fort Street. So, you know, pop in, throw them a few bucks, I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Tamiya's brand new Aston Martin DBS. The same, it's basically, it's not marketed as such, but this is the car from Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. It's the new James Bond car, and I fell in love with it instantly. I had to grab it. It's got one-piece body. It's got photo etched parts. It's got, you know, metal transfers for mirrors and such. Lots of other fancy parts. I've seen a build-up of this thing done with no paint, and it looks amazing. Right out of the box, just basic assembly with no paint, because it's all more or less molded in color. The chrome is the right color, the interior is the right color, the engine parts are the right color. I mean, obviously you should paint it, but still, just basic assembly right out of the box, and it looked fantastic. In addition to those, though, I have been building up a little bit of a stash. I've never been one to keep model kits for too long. I don't buy more than I really plan to build. Especially with Gundam kits, because you can just slap them together and call them good. If I wanted to repaint them eventually, you know, I could take one off of the shelf and do it then. But I could build it, put it on the shelf, call it good until such time as I decided to paint it. But as we all know, with conventional build kits, sometimes they take a while. And, you know, you see one in the store, you're like, hey, I want that. And it goes on the shelf, and you end up not building it for 6 months or a year or ever. And I'm kind of getting into that. So in the past couple of weeks, I've managed to accumulate a moderately respectable stash. I shouldn't say a couple of weeks, it's actually been a couple of months. Starting off with the classic Revell A10 Warthog. Having looked through the kit, it's really basic. I didn't realize when I bought it, but this is an old tooling. I think it's from like 1986 or something. Has raised panel lines and pretty meager detailing. Apparently the cockpit is very poorly detailed, so I don't know if I'm even going to get around to building it, but I kind of feel obligated because it wasn't cheap. I mean, for this kind of kit, you'd think it'd be 20 bucks. This was almost 40 bucks. I couldn't believe it. This 35 or 25-year-old model was almost 40 bucks. I couldn't believe it. In addition to that, I also picked up. I'm trying to kind of get some basic level kits to ease me into all different genres of modeling. So starting with this one, and also Revell's FA-18E Super Hornet. Which is a very new tooling. I believe it's only a few years old. Nice panel line detail, good cockpit. It looks like it's a very nice kit. Nice decal set, actually, which is right on top of the... oops, almost dropped it. Which is right on top of the pile of parts. It's nicely printed. Everything is legible, no matter how small it is. It's very, very well printed and legible. Anyway, then next up is, now we're getting into some of the more high-end stuff that I don't want to build immediately because I don't want to screw it up. That's why I bought these, because they were cheap and I can kind of practice before I get into the expensive stuff. Academy's 1/48 scale F-18 or F-15E Strike Eagle, the Operation Iraqi Freedom version. I haven't taken a really close look through the box yet. I bought this a couple of months ago because after I did my Macross kits, figuring I wanted to get into like realistic aviation, and I love the F-15. I had actually considered building this up as a Transformer in Transformer colors, like Starscream or something, sort of gray with red stripes and whatnot. But I decided against that. I want to do it just as a real aircraft. Like I said, I haven't taken a really close look. Does have a very nice decal set. I think, yeah, it says the decals are by Cartograph. Has a small photo etch set, which you can see right there under my finger. I'll move my finger out of the way. I hope it doesn't fall down. It's got rear view mirrors for the canopy. Looks like seat belts, some vents. I don't recognize most of the rest of it. I'm not into aviation. You know, I'm not an expert, so I don't recognize a lot of the stuff, but I'm sure I'll learn. It's a very nice looking kit, but it's a higher end kit. This thing cost me about $80. So I don't want to jump into it and screw it up. And finally, I just bought this a few days ago because it's one of my favorite helicopters. The MH-53E Sea Dragon. I'm a big fan of the MH-53 series and its various derivatives. It's a really neat, big monstrosity of a helicopter that just looks really, really cool. But like, it wasn't cheap. This was $110 on the shelf plus tax. So I don't want to jump into it, but I'm anxious to get started on it because I like the helicopter so much. I'm actually considering saying just the hell with it and jumping right into it, but I don't want to screw it up. So I don't know what to do. I'm stumped. The only aircraft kits I've done in a long time, actually really ever, that I've actually done and finished are, you know, like sci-fi stuff, like my, this is the 32nd scale Viper from Mobius. And also the my Macross kits, the VF1 and the YF19, which I had a lot of fun doing. The 19, not as much as the VF1, I'll admit. It was it had some problems, but what are you gonna do? But I don't want to jump into these expensive kits without doing the more basic stuff first to kind of get a feel for aviation. Same as with the high end or higher end automotive stuff. I didn't want to jump into that, but I'm tearing myself apart over this. Oh, upside down. I want to get into it, and I'm hating myself for it's frustrating. Anyway, that's really all I've got to say for now. Basically, this is just kind of an update of where I've been at. But if you have any suggestions, you know, if you're watching this and you've built any of these kits, or if you think, you know, one is better than the other as kind of a starter into aviation or whatever, you know, don't hesitate to send me a message. I may not reply. I do get a lot of comments. Which reminds me, people who comment, please, 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 please stop saying I'm saying the word decal wrong. I don't care. It's regional dialect. It's a difference of pronunciation. It doesn't matter to me. I say decal, you say decal. I get it. Stop sending me complaints that I say decal. It's driving me crazy. I get like 10 a day. Well, maybe not 10 a day, but I get a lot. Anyway, rant over. But yeah, so don't hesitate to send me a message about anything other than my pronunciation of the word decal. If you've built any of these, let me know how they go together. And other than that, I do hope to continue updating on a somewhat more frequent basis. Tourism season is still progressing here. It'll still be busy for the next month or so, but it will start to slow down a little bit, and hopefully I'll actually be able to get some real work done over the next little while. So, to all my viewers out there, thanks for watching, and happy modeling.